name is Kevin Harris. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing for AIA Stainless, and I'm privileged to have with me today Eric Drivdahl of Gelotte, Hommas Drivdahl Architects. We're going to be having a discussion about what it takes to commission and have built a custom home. Eric, you've been in the business for a while, and I'm eager to spend a few moments talking to you. Your firm is well respected in the industry. You build beautiful homes and you've won tons of awards. I have a few questions for you. Let's just start with a question I think everyone who maybe has never commissioned a custom home before wants to know. Do I need an architect?
You know, there's a lot of different paths that you can pursue to have a dream home or a custom home designed and built. I definitely advocate working with an architect who specializes in residential design and construction. You asked the question, you know, do you need an architect? I think working with an architect, what the value you get out of that is somebody who's an expert in residential design. There's a lot of great information online these days. There's phenomenal resources out there, and you know, if you're a true do-it-yourselfer, you know, I think even maybe engaging an architect for partial services is still really valuable.
Okay.
In fact, I have a good story. I did a project probably 10 years ago where I had the eminent do-it-yourselfer. He was an engineer. He had a lot of capability, but he recognized when it comes to he had a clear idea what he wanted in the house, but how to make that house beautiful, how to make that house something really special. He recognized that there was value in what we could bring to that design process. And so, you know, it was a really fun process for us. We really collaborated on, you know, the floor plan and the room spacing and everything, but then he allowed us to bring our expertise in designing the exterior of the house and the final look and fit and finish of it. And he was able to then basically just take our concept and then he just did the rest.
That's awesome.
So there's ways that you can engage with an architect. Maybe you're on a limited budget, but you want some input. I think a lot of architects will work collaboratively with you. Now, our specialty is walking a client all the way through from the very beginning to the initial concept to the blossoming of that idea, and then ultimately to the construction and moving in, right? And the value is architects have done this dozens and dozens of times for many different types of clients, many different types of homes in different settings.
So no surprises for you.
Yeah, and where our process is geared to walking a client through that whole process, and so you don't have to lay, in your bed at night wondering what should I be doing.
Right.
We're guiding you through that whole process, and so there's the aesthetic kind of beauty side of the design. Find an architect whose work you admire, definitely.
That's a great point.
And then engage with an architect who is set up to walk you through that whole process, because then and that's the value that architects bring is those two things.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, I gotta think that if a person really hasn't engaged an architect in the past, but they're excited, this is their dream home, they want it to be theirs, put their little stamp on it, that first call to a big-time architect, that probably is a little bit intimidating. Do you find that sometimes people are a little bit nervous when they get you on the phone and what do? Do I just look through House and I find pictures that I like and I call the firm whose pictures I like?
I do. I recommend if you're looking for an architect, I do think look at the resources that are online. It's easy. There's websites. I mean, you can just Google Seattle Residential Architects, Bellevue Residential Architects, and browse. Don't just look at the first page. Look at the first maybe 2 or 3 pages, and look at people's websites. Identify maybe your top 3 to 5, maybe 6 at the most, architects whose work you admire. Like, wow, I really admire that work. And architects are really a friendly bunch, I find. I hope that we're easy to approach. We love to meet people and talk to them about their project. And I'll be honest, not every client is a great fit for every architect.
Right.
And we try in our process, in that initial conversation, to identify if we would be a good fit with the client. I think most architects do, and our goal at the end of the day is to help people. We're in the service industry. We want people to have what they want, and even if we're not a good fit for somebody, if I can refer you to somebody who could serve your needs, that's a win for us. I don't think, we're just people too, right?
Architects are people too.
Architects are
I'm writing that down.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, ask their peer group, and I think a lot of it is reputation or referral based. And so, yeah, there's great resources online. Definitely the AIA Find an Architect tool on their website is great. Google is a great, House is a great resource, and find the architect whose work you admire.
I like it,
and don't be afraid to just have that initial conversation.
So I'm brand new to this. I'm going to find an architect. What are the types of things that are like stumbling blocks that people maybe they just don't know? Where by engaging a professional, you're going to help keep me from getting myself in trouble. Are there some stumbling blocks that are traditional or trip people up?
Yes, absolutely. and the truth of the matter is, my experience has been, and this is human nature, so you don't have to feel bad about this, you don't have to make excuses for this, but just recognize this is part of the process. Every client I have ever met, what they would like to spend is less than what they ultimately want. And therein lies the tension of designing a custom home.
Yeah.
And connecting those two is what a really good architect will help a client with, is identifying everything that they want in their home, in their remodel, in their new home, whatever their project is, and then working with their budget to make those things line up. Because the challenge in our work is when those things are not aligned, there's disappointment, there's frustration, and a good architect will help bring those things in alignment very early in the process.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate knowing that. So one of the things that I noticed when I was taking a look at your website is you mention art frequently. In fact, you have kind of a brand, the art of architecture. Mm-hmm. Would you say that separates you from other architectural firms, your focus on art? Can you maybe just talk about why that's your brand?
Yeah. We kind of landed on our tagline. We call it our tagline, the art of architecture, several years ago. Our firm, we have two sort of core values about how we practice architecture and how we serve our clients. The first, and I would probably say the foremost, is design. We are passionate about great design, making homes as beautiful and healthy and functional as possible. And the second is about service. If you look at our particular portfolio, we have a very diverse portfolio, from very traditional homes to very contemporary homes, and everything in between. Mountain homes, rustic, and
they're all gorgeous.
Prairie styles, and it's the blending of these two core values that has produced this body of work. The service side of us drives how we design our clients' vision of home. We work very hard to listen intently, to hear what they want in their dream home. And then that artistic side, because we are passionate about design, we've identified, just for our own skill set and that of our team, that the better artists that we are, and I mean that in the broadest sense of the word, whether it's fine arts, whether it's musical art, whether it's photography. I mean, the more we are attuned to things of beauty and creating things of beauty, the more that sort of indwells and informs our design work. The better the artist we are as architects, the better architects we can be in bringing that level of design and beauty into our work.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's something. Can you share with us maybe an example of how you've been able to help some family reach their goal, design their dream home, and when it's all done, they said, "Eric, well done." Do you have any cool story?
Yeah, I mean, I think every project that reaches that completion of move-in, I mean, there's the challenges that come with designing your own unique custom home. There's a lot of hurdles to pass along the way, and one of the ones that we deal with a lot, because we work in a lot of areas that are heavily regulated by zoning and land use regulations, and navigating those regulations and those requirements and still achieving the goal of a client is it's becoming a more and more part of what we do, just because we have to. If you have a steep slope or a stream, or if you're a waterfront property or something like that, there's a lot of overlapping regulations, right, that inform what you can do, right, and knowing those regulations well enough and being able to navigate through them, because some of them are black and white. It's easy. There's a setback from the property line. Simple. A lot of the environmental regulations they're gray. They're if you do this, then you might be able to do that, and then you don't really know until you go through the process. And so, we just recently completed a project where it was a significant remodel. In fact, it was rebuilding an existing house. But the property was non-conforming in every way. The setbacks were, the existing project, the setbacks weren't right, the lot coverage wasn't right, the impervious surface, none of it conformed. But, what we get to do is we then engage with the client, and we have conversations around all of these issues, and we identify what the priorities are, and we always reach for the most that we can to achieve the goal of our client while still being good stewards of our community. You don't want to take advantage of things, but you also want to work to the most you can, right, to achieve the best outcome. And in that project, we were able to negotiate our way through the regulations, and the client didn't get everything that they wanted, but they got darn near it all, and they just moved in this last summer. The home was completed, and I tell you, I talked to them, and they are so delighted. They have their dream home, and I tell you that it's phenomenal. Anytime somebody moves into their dream home, man, what a great celebration.
That's neat. You've got a great job. You get to help people create their dream home.
I do.
Well, I want to thank you for spending a few moments with me this afternoon. If you have any questions, you'll be able to find Eric at their website. And I want to thank you for spending a few moments with us.